What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about how to figure out which organization is the best for you. Specifically talking about Divine Now organizations. As you all know, there are a lot of amazing organizations within this cluster. And I guess I'll kind of break down what made my decision, and then I hope from that you'll be able to understand how to go about doing research. If you're kind of in between two organizations, you're not quite sure exactly which one you're wanting to get into or show interest in, and I'm just gonna hope that that helps you make your decision, if that makes sense. And before we get too deep into this video, if you have not already done so, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down below. So as you may or may not know, I crossed back in 2013, and in that time, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated was under the program of Global Leadership Through Timeless Service. And so basically what the global program is, each of our presidents have their own little targets, and so they'll have, you know, the different targets that they're wanting to hit during their term, and then they have their own title for it. So this was under Carolyn House Stewart, we had Global Leadership Through Timeless Service. And when I was doing my research, I not only looked at the local chapters, actually I made their Instagram. So we didn't really have social media until I got into, I want to say they had a Twitter, and I want to say they had a Facebook, but I made their Instagram. So I ended up actually looking at their Facebook, I looked at their Twitter. They weren't really that active, so I had to kind of scope on the low. Like, I had a friend who was friends with one of my pro fights, so I would kind of, you know, I remember I went to one of her little events as a, you know, just person with her. I tried to like be like kind of low key, not necessarily showing interest, but still there. I'm like, I'm here to support a friend, supporting a friend. So I was kind of really low key with my stuff. I remember I went up to one of my pro fights as well as an interest. We had an event called, what's it called? It's like Organizations Day. Like it's like Organizations Day or something like that. Like they have an actual name for it. I can't quite remember what it is at the moment, but they had like an organization fair, and I can remember it was I think the president at the time and the vice president. So two of my direct pro fights, they were there, and it was very kind of overwhelming to be able to, you know, walk up to them and ask them questions. I went with someone who actually ended up being my line sister, and when we went up to them, it was just like, we really didn't have, like, I hadn't seen them really before on campus. So like, aside from going to those particular events, so it was a little awkward because I'm like, how do I even approach y'all? What do I talk to y'all about? You know, all that type of stuff. So basically, fast forward, I ended up having to do my research not only on them but also on AKA, because I'm like, I see y'all, I see that, you know, y'all aren't bad women. You know, I don't hear anything about y'all on campus aside from y'all being involved in these events and things like that. So it's like, there's nothing really bad on their end. So I'm like, okay, well, let me go ahead and actually look up the, you know, organization a little more in depth, because I'm not really finding the information that I want specifically from them at that point. You know, I looked at the chapter website, like all that. And that's not to say that they didn't really take care of the, you know, social media thing, but social media isn't for everybody. Like, I like doing that type of stuff, so I'll sometimes, you know, take advantage of, you know, like I said, I made their Instagram and I kind of was the posting person for that type of stuff. So social media isn't for everybody, and, you know, even still, they don't really use social media like in their personal lives. So I know that that probably just wasn't their thing. So I had to go a little deeper. So specifically, when I was doing my research, I noticed that they had a program called Emerging Young Leaders, and at the time I was really interested in like criminal justice and juvenile justice. So I was like, dang, I'll be able to kind of be a mentor at this young age, and, you know, kind of just help train up a child, because we were working with middle schoolers at that time, and it was really like a hands-on experience. Like, they had a school that they would go to, and they'll, you know, spend time with the girls and have, you know, different like little I remember one time we ended up having like a nail painting session, and it's like small things that really will, you know, stick out with young girls and help them to feel better about themselves. And, you know, we had, you know, just little girl talk and things like that. So that kind of just really stuck out to me. I was like, dang, I'll be able to be assisting with that, and really just being able to make a difference in that capacity. And then I kind of noticed that a lot of their targets were things that I was kind of interested in. And I noticed that like one before that was about like young authors, and another one was about, you know, focusing on middle school girls, and another one was like, you know, helping with poverty and things like that. It was a lot of different initiatives that weren't necessarily under Carolyn House Stewart at that time, but they were under other leaders. And I was like, okay, well, if we've already done it before, if I need help, I can probably find somebody that'll be able to be like, you know, if you're interested in finding out more information about this, cool, go ahead, and okay, I got this, whoop de whoop. So you know, I also started to look at the different type of events that they would have. Like they had my chapter had a pink ice scholarship, and so they would give back to girls in the school. Or I don't even know if it was just, I don't think it was just for girls. I think it was for whoever applied, but you know, they'll give scholarships throughout the year, and they'll have different, you know, events for pretty much every month. I remember they had like a date rape type of thing. I want to say it was called like Sex in the City or something like that. And then they had, like there was a lot of different events that actually happened on campus, but it just wasn't any real information about it online. I would have to physically, like literally go to these events and kind of just be a fly on the wall and see what they had going on. So after doing my research, you know, the emerging young leaders really stood out to me, and that was one of the primary reasons why I chose Alpha Kappa Alpha. Even though I know a lot of different organizations have great things, but like I really didn't. I can easily say that I didn't really look into them like that. It was kind of just like this, or I would just mind my business. So that's how I decided to pick AKA. So as an interest of an organization, no matter if it's a sorority or a fraternity, the first step is always going to be do your research. Like I won't say anything else, because I feel like that is such an important aspect. We have too much information on the internet at this point. Like there's some stuff that probably shouldn't even, not even probably, there's stuff that shouldn't be on the internet. And if that's accessible and people have found that and people know these things that they aren't supposed to know, then it's pretty obvious that at this point I should be able to expect people to do your research. There's forums for it. If you have questions regarding specific basic things, like there's avenues for you to find probably more than you even want to know, to be honest, or probably more than you even should know at this point, to be honest. So do that part, and as you do that, you'll kind of start to weed out other organizations, or you should be able to weed out other organizations. You'll see, like, I don't want to say just base it off of whether or not you feel like you will look right with a certain organization, because some of these stereotypes aren't even realistic. I mean, chapters vary from region to region. What people look like in the South aren't necessarily what people might look like in the North. So I can't, you know, I wouldn't be the person to recommend basing any decisions off of stereotypes. However, I will say, look to see if you can find a sense of culture in the chapter. See if they are actually doing stuff. See if they are easily accessible. See if they have a track record of being nice, if they have a track record of having attitudes, because at a certain point, you know, you have to really think, even if you're interested in this organization, do you want to deal with those attitudes? I personally don't have the time, because I mean, my attitude ain't built for that. It's really not. So yeah, do your research. Also, try to make the best decision for you. I know that in a lot of cases, it's like, you know, my mother was a such and such, and my grandmother, my auntie, my mentor was blah, 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 and I think I should be in this organization. That's not necessarily true, because even though that person is a great, you know, role model for you in that organization, you have to follow your heart, you know, because you have to make your decision for you. When they were when they were doing their research, they decided to make their decision for them. They picked what they wanted to do. And even though it sounds good, like, for example, if my sister were to tell me she's interested in another organization, I'd be like, girl, now you know I'm not coming to your probate. Like, play a little bit, I'll be shady, but I mean, at the end of the day, I'll have to be like, all right, cool, you know, this is your decision, you made that decision for you, that's on you, and I'm gonna still love you regardless. You know, you still my sister. I mean, you might have went the wrong way, but you still my sister. So you have to just make sure that you're making the right decision for you. Don't allow anybody to make your decision for you. Actually, if you're torn between two different organizations, there's gonna be something that makes one stand out in comparison to the other. We are all service-based organizations. However, we all do stuff differently. There's gonna be some things that stand out to you about Sigma Gamma Rho that we might not have in Alpha Kappa Alpha. I mean, I don't exactly know how their system works, but I mean, there might be some key things that, you know, make them stand out. And I've met a lot of beautiful and amazing, brilliant SGROs, and like, that's a great decision for you as well. My thing is, what are you doing in the end? You know, are you giving back? Are you making the most out of your experience with being in this organization, or are you just being there? So definitely take your time in making this decision. Don't feel like you have to make a decision right this second. You have to be 100% sure, because once you make your decision, guess what? There's no going back. You cannot jump into another organization after, you know, you're like, this one don't fit me. Like, I'm gonna return this. You can't return the letters, you know, once you got, or you can return them, but by denouncing, but that's something totally different for another video. But you can't return and go to another organization. Once you're in that organization, you are a member of that organization. So definitely take your time, definitely make your decision for you, and do not let anyone force you or make you feel bad or kind of sweet talk, sugar talk you into being in a certain organization, because at the end of the day, either they're gonna understand or they're not gonna understand. And if they don't understand, that's on them, because this decision is for you. That's pretty much all I have. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this video makes sense, and I hope it kind of makes it easier for you to understand what you need to do when you're thinking about picking an organization, and why you should take some time to pick your organization. If you don't just have one that just kind of sticks out, or if you're not like battling with like two, like if you're battling with 3 or something like that, you have a lot of research to do. You need to go and actually sit down and think about it, because that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, but if you're like torn between two and you're not quite sure what you're wanting to do, just kind of do a comparison. See which one, you know, makes more sense for you to join. Which one can you see yourself being in for years? Which one do you see yourself actually being active in and paying dues and wearing the, even though it sounds childish, but like wearing the colors, the paraphernalia, you don't always have to, but like these are some things that you probably want to think about before you're making your decision, because it'll make it a little easier. Like after a while, you have to really crack down on like even the smallest things, like do I like these letters, like small things. If you're having a hard time, you really got to take every component into consideration. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.